Sam in India, pronouns are he, him. Sam's a theist who wants to ask us, I guess, how can 1.4 billion theists be wrong? Was that the question, Sam?
Yes.
Well, if you'll allow me a slight conceit, I'll answer your question with a question. How can the other
Okay.
6.5 billion people be wrong?
They have their own religions.
No, so that's not an answer to the question. The 1.4 billion theists in India that you're citing is a portion of the world's population, and you're saying, how can all these people be wrong? They can be wrong the same way the other 6.5 billion could be wrong about anything.
But they have tied God with the economic system of the country. So there's
Which
incentive
doesn't
for
tell you,
everyone.
yeah, but it doesn't tell you whether or not the God claim is true. How do we
Yeah,
do we determine
then
do we determine whether or not something is true by how popular it is?
no, but then they point out anomalies. So they have the mainstream incentive of God with economy, that's the mainstream river, and then they have anomalies of different events that occurred around that mainstream flow of money. So then they show that, and they have lots of people claiming different things. I don't want to go into all the claims, but there is thousands of different claims, and internet has just elevated that kind of data and claims.
How do we tell whether or not a claim is true, Sam?
If it can be tested independently.
Cool. Those 1.4 billion Indian theists that you're pointing to, and you say, how can they be wrong? What testing can we do to show that they're right?
If they are able to prosper and fulfill their desires.
No. Prosper and fulfilling desire isn't proof that a God exists or that a religious supernatural claim is true.
But that's fundamental for
Donald Trump made a couple $1 billion the other day, and then of course he turned around and lost it. But does him prospering prove that his ideology is true or good, or that God's on his side?
But that's just one person. I'm talking about at scale.
Why does it make a difference whether I'm talking about one person or 1.4 billion?
Because the amount of energy output is different.
What does that have to do with how do you tell if it's true?
So the group that has high energy output is further at will forcing its resources into the God economic propaganda of this country. And then they're prospering and growing with that. And their metrics of life have gone up.
I'm especially confused now because you're talking about God propaganda. So are you saying that there is a God, or that there's not a God, but there's propaganda about a God?
There is no way of knowing whether there is a God or not, because God
Really?
can't
How do
be
you know that?
measured.
How do you know that?
Because you can't measure truth.
How do you know that?
Because whatever we are using today in the military in US, it has the same principles that were discovered during the 19th and the 18th century.
I'm going to pause
So
here,
we are
Sam,
still
and I'm going to pause here, Sam, because what you just said makes absolutely no sense to me, given what I asked, and I just may be off track. So I'll see if Seth has something to add, but I don't know if there's much more to do here.
It's a word salad for me. I'm hearing another riff on useful fiction, right? It has utility. The propaganda has made people happy and prosperous. It has nothing to do with the truthfulness, the veracity of the claims themselves. Matt, is that just another version of the argument from popularity? You throw out the word billion and it's supposed to be impressive.
So the topmost claim of the theistic people is that you can master your mind, and hence you will be in resonance with God.
Which God?
Whichever one you want to believe in.
Okay, so what I want to believe in will then make that true. So if I want to believe in Allah, Thor, Wotan, Freya, Yahweh, Jehovah, if I want to believe, would that then make that God real?
It won't make the God real, but it will help you along your journey.
Okay, so you believe that it may not be true, but it may be some sort of a trick of the mind, a psyching myself up, a useful fiction for living my life, for being happy and prosperous. It's a made up story. It might make me feel good and motivate me, even if it's a lie. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, you can put it like that, yes.
Okay. If it is a lie, should we hold on to it? Should we embrace it? Should we teach it? Should we promote it? If it's not true, should we be agents propagandizing it, to use your word?
So it's not true, but it's not a lie.
Okay, hang on. Hold
Okay.
on. Hold on. Okay. How can something be both true and not true at the same time?
Well, that's not quite what he said. He may be
Well,
using
he said
lies
it's.
and someone is telling an intentional falsehood. He says it's not true, but that doesn't mean it's a lie. Like
Are
I
you
could
being a
say, hey,
philosopher now? Damn it, Matt.
I'm just
I've been
trying to
lost. All
keep
right.
this on
Well,
here.
that's fair. When I hear lie, I hear it ain't true. But you're saying that there are different definitions of lie that I may not be aware of. This is more your camp
Well,
than
if
mine,
I
I
say
will
I
admit.
have $300 in my wallet and we open my wallet and it turns out that I only have $200 in my wallet,
So
was I lying or
ca-
was I just mistaken?
when you have
That's the thing.
sufficient evidence
Yeah,
against
go
the
ahead,
null
Sam.
hypothesis, when you have sufficient evidence against the null hypothesis, you can
Yep.
say that it is a lie. But when you don't have that evidence, you cannot really claim that it's a lie. You can just claim it's not
I don't
true.
need it to be a lie. I'm only concerned as to whether or not it is something that it's true and can it be demonstrated as true. And you called in and said, how can 1.4 billion Indian theists be wrong? And now it sounds like you're saying that you understand that they can be wrong and that they seemingly are likely to be wrong or might be wrong. And so what is the question that you're asking now?
Yeah, so like it's just that when I live my day-to-day life, I try not to put my mind into it, but my Instagram is filled with posts of theism. My real life, wherever I go, it's filled with temples and different kinds of theistic structures. So I try not to go towards it, but it always drags me in and it gives me an incentive. So I start believing in it by default.
Why would you start believing in something before there's a reason to believe? Because if we don't know what the right, so we want to know what the answer is there God? Why are we here? What happens after death? Is there somebody watching what we do? Is there a purpose and meaning to life that's externally imposed? Is there some goal that we're trying to? All of those are questions to which I don't know that I have an answer. What you seem to be saying is that when you hear a potential answer for it, your default position is to go ahead and go with that potential answer until somebody proves it wrong. But that puts you in a position where you have to accept multiple different competing and exclusive views. Like you would have to be a Hindu and a Christian and a Scientologist and a Muslim all at the same time, because you think that it's impossible to prove or disprove any of those. And so what is your criteria for picking one of those?
Okay. I used to meditate, and during those meditations, there is a hologram in your brain. Would you agree to that fact?
No.
That there is a hologram in your brain?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
By hologram, do you mean a concept?
No, let me explain. It comes from the neck. It goes all the way up till interhemispheric fissure, which is the opening at the top of your brain, and there is nerves going on top of it. So from the bottom to the top, we have a hologram going, and then we have the nerves. So the hologram shows you all the images of your life, and nerves give you the emotions.
No, none of that sounds at all remotely familiar. It's not the correct usage of the term hologram. I don't have a hologram. I tried to give you the best I could by saying, are you talking about concepts? I don't know what you're talking about at all, or how there's love up here above my head, because to whatever extent I could possibly try to manifest love, it's certainly not anything that's above my head or outside. It is a mental state.
Yeah, but when you have love, it's a summation equation of thoughts and emotions, right?
No, that does not. So love is a word we use, and we apply it to a number of different things. I love Seth. I love Arden. I don't love them the same way, but we use the same word for those things. But what we're describing is a psychological state that is identifiable and detectable and durable. But when you say it's a man, I can't even come up with the words that you used to try to do this. That doesn't make any sense to me. Love is a word that we use to describe things that we feel and do.
Yeah, I think if we boil it down to first principles, it boils down to what I said.
Well,
Because
congratulations.
everything can be broken down, because it's your metric, right? You want to use metrics. So when we use metrics, we can always go to the base level 0 to see what the first principles were. And that's what I'm saying right now, that if you want love and you want to quantify that, it is a summation equation between images and nerves or blood flowing through your body.
Matt,
Or
let's
brain.
contact the Nobel Prize Committee right now, because they need to know
we've
that,
tapped
Sam.
it. All
They-
those
they
people
need
who
to-
don't experience love, anybody who doesn't experience love, you've now been told it's a summation equation between images and love. Congratulations,
next-
Sam. You have come up with a new model of love that makes sense to almost nobody but you. But thanks.
I wish my neck high hologram was working. I feel cheated somehow. Apparently, I need batteries in that.
Hello, I'm Jimmy Snow, executive producer of The Line, and I only became a woodworker for the puns. That's not important. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so on our Patreon or as a channel member, and you can actually support specific shows and specific hosts in special tiers on those. Check those options out. Also, you can leave a super thanks and get a little highlighted deal. But if all else fails, you can always you can subscribe and leave a comment. Now, here are some suggestions, because I don't care about the algorithm. I am the algorithm. Bye.